Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and tonight I just finished watching Loki episode 3, season 2, episode 3. And yeah, a lot of stuff happened in this one. We got a lot of answers, a lot more questions, but a lot of answers at the same time. So I'm really happy with this one. There were some interesting decisions made acting wise that we had heard about in some of the reviews before the season started, and I see what happened here. Okay, so let's just get into it. Basically, this episode is like at least halfway a Ravonna Renslayer episode. We haven't seen her since the end of season 1. She disappeared. We have no idea where she went. She's just gone. And it turns out she went to Chicago in 18 something. And basically what ends up happening is that she takes the TVA handbook, the one that Ouroboros had been writing. She takes that handbook, tosses it through a window at the instruction of Ms.minutes, who's with her, and then they fast forward like 20 years. And when they do that, now they have come across a Victor Timely, who's at the Chicago World Fair, and he's doing the demonstration that we saw at the end of Quantumania. Which I don't know, if you want to compare the shots. I think some of it is slightly different, but it's generally the same thing. He's on stage, and he has like a prototype of the time loom, and he's doing like that old timey inventor type sales pitch of how, like, look, I can power a light bulb, and he's giving a very interesting performance here. He's pausing every other word, he's stuttering a lot, and it's kind of maybe hokey is the word, and it seems to be intentional, right? Because it kind of goes with the time that he's in at the present, like in the that 18th century. He's very stuttery, kind of fidgety guy, so I don't know. It's definitely something that I can see some people not liking at all. Especially because, and I've seen this complaint before, Kang is supposed to be this big menacing threat to the entire franchise, right? He's supposed to be like our big bad guy, and yet some people don't feel like the two, or even more, I guess, with the post-credit scene of Quantumania, all the versions of Kang that we've seen have not come across very threatening, and this guy is no different. He's just like a fidgety inventor guy, kind of a con man, a little bit weaselly, but he seems very naive and innocent, but not very much, not like the big bad guy, not like this ultimate threat that we all have to stop in Kang, in the Kang Dynasty, the big Avengers movie. So I can see this rubbing some people the wrong way. I definitely see how the acting choices here were not super well received, because it's definitely a choice. I kind of got used to it by the end of the episode, but it was pretty shocking, and he's definitely, he's intentionally being weird. It's interesting. Anyways, so basically what we have now is that Ravonna's there, and she's gonna talk to him about joining her and Ms.minutes, and she wants to go to the TVA to take back over the TVA and set things right the way they're supposed to be, and get rid of Loki and all that, right? And then Loki and Mobius are there, right? Or Morbius, sorry, Morbius. Mobius. Anyways, Loki and Mobius are there, and they've tracked Ravonna there, as we saw at the end of the last episode, and they need the aura of a He Who Remains. So lucky for them, they're tracking Ravonna. She's now seen Victor Timely here, so they're like, oh crap, we need that guy. And as well as all that, Sylvie has tracked someone here somehow, and of course, as we heard last episode, her whole thing is, if another variant shows up, I'm gonna kill him, and that's like her thing. This whole episode is she's gonna keep popping up, keep trying to kill this variant. So Loki's trying to protect He Who Remains, or at least this Kang variant here, because they need him to fix the time loom. And Ravonna kind of has the same deal, right? And also needs to fix the TVA, but more so because he, with her help and Miss Minutes' help, he can become the conqueror that he's meant to be and take over the TVA and basically just become He Who Remains again. That seems to be what the plan was, because Miss Minutes keeps going on about how He Who Remains had this big plan for when he dies, because he knew he was going to die. And we get a lot of information about Miss Minutes and a little bit of Ravonna in this episode. So basically, they're all fighting, they're running away, they're going through the streets, they're going on a Ferris wheel, they're going through the whole Chicago World's Fair area. And Ravonna ends up being able to run away with Victor Timely, and they get on a boat, and at first they kind of have a moment, where like some romance starts blooming, and you get this really awkward a love triangle thing happening. Miss Minutes is getting jealous of Ravonna, and at first you're like, okay, this is, it's kind of funny, because she's a cartoon clock AI, and you don't take it that seriously. And as we see in the episode, it gets a little more extreme, so we'll get into that. But basically, Ravonna makes the mistake of saying, oh, I want to be partners at the end of time. I want a seat next to you, and we can rule together. But Victor, for some reason, is really averse to partners, right? We get like a little demonstration of that when someone wants to be business partners with him and buy that time loom that he was demonstrating. And he's like, no, I don't do partners, right? And he's really like aggressive about that point. Now, why is that? Did something else happen? I don't know. But he's, you mentioned that word partners, and he throws Ravonna, off the boat, puts her in a lifeboat and kicks her out, right? So she's gone, they're separated, and now he goes to his house in Wisconsin, is that what he said? And he's got like his whole invention lair there, and Miss Minutes is talking to him about how, oh, you're gonna be this really great person, and you invented me before the TVA and everything else, and it was just us, and we were cool, and for some reason you just kept me as a little AI toy computer. You didn't like let me have my own body and let me like be a real person, and that's all I wanted, because then we could be together, and she starts getting real creepy, her eyes starts glitching out. She starts like, as she's talking about having a body, she's like phasing into a mannequin, like, to make herself look like the face of it. And so she's getting real creepy. So Victor's like, I'm gonna reach for the remote and try to press the off switch. And so Miss Minutes starts running at him like, wait, no, I love you, no, and it's, you can definitely see how she might be like, maybe not the main villain, but she's definitely gonna have her own motives now, because she's not okay. She's definitely kind of crazy, and you kind of got that sense already by how like, she puts on that like all smiley, like, oh, you bless your heart, like she's got that accent, and you kind of see like there's something hidden underneath the layer of this AI here. But yeah, this one, she like kind of reveals a little bit of how crazy she is. So she's in love with He Who Remains, wants to have a real body. And Victor Timely's like freaking out, because he's like, that wasn't me, I don't know how to do that, like that was a variant, that was a different guy, so he manages to deactivate her, minimize her into the little controller pad. Ravonna shows up, and now she's pissed off, right? Because she got ditched, and now she's got this like prototype pruning stick, and she's gonna try to get him to go. And then who shows up next? Sylvie shows up next. Now Sylvie's gonna be there, and Sylvie's like, I'm gonna kill He Remains. And then Loki and Mobius show up, and they're like, all right, we need him to come with us, nobody can kill him. And so you got like this just trifecta of conflicting interests all fighting over this one guy, and you can kind of tell maybe it's mostly an act where he's like, he's getting real stuttery, and he's like, wait, I didn't do anything. You can't judge me. You don't know what's in my heart. I mean, I'm not evil. I didn't do anything. And so Sylvie manages to let him go. Which, to be fair, she herself is a variant, and so maybe she's kind of feeling like, all right, fine, maybe I can't judge this variant based on what the other one did, which, she's immediately like, don't make me regret that, so yeah, you can definitely see like this is something she probably will end up regretting, because I can't imagine this is going to end well. So Victor timely goes with Loki and Mobius to go fix the time loom, and they disappear through a wall, and then Sylvie ends up kicking Ravonna to the end of time, right? Because she's like, oh, you wanted a throne at the end of time? Go ahead, go have the throne, because there's nothing there but a rotting corpse and a destroyed building. Like, there's literally nothing there anymore. So, Ravonna's there, but luckily she did have ms.minutes with her. I guess, like, she picked up the pad in her pocket. And now ms.minutes is also pissed off. So ms.minutes like, oh, he ditched me too. He deactivated me as I was just wanting another body, right? And so she also says like, oh, I know a secret about you, Ravonna, something that's gonna make you real mad, which more than likely is just that she had her memory erased, and they had like, she had this whole arrangement with the previous He Who Remains, and so she's probably gonna be real mad. And so there you go. So now Ravonna is gonna know the truth of her previous memories, as we kind of heard in that recording that Loki had heard. And they're at the end of time. Maybe they will find something of use in that building, but Sylvie certainly didn't seem to think there was anything useful there. So I thought it was just trapping her back there. And yeah, Sylvie, promised to kill all the King variants, and now has let this one go. So we'll see how this all plays out. And as Mobius says, like, they have an immediate problem right now is to fix the time loom. Later on, they have to be like, okay, but this is supposed to be this really dangerous guy that no one had any free will, and he had scripted everything, and it was like this huge deal. And now we got a variant of him. What do we do with this, So we'll see. I mean, it's not impossible that a Kang variant does become a genuine good guy, right? Because, that's the thing about the variants. There's an infinite amount of them, right? So it's possible that this one might actually be a good person. Or it could all be a trick. It could all be an act. This whole stuttering, jittery, nervous guy could be an act. I don't know. And yeah, I'm just curious, like, how this all accounts for the fact that, we did see a whole Kang dynasty at the end of Quantumania. Like, all those variants already exist. They're already, like, just jumping around. So, are they not able to detect all of that happening? Is that going to come into play at all this season? I don't know. And yeah, it definitely seems like, at the very least, it's going to end up being Ravonna and ms.minutes as the real villains this season that they end up having to stop. And then we're still going to be left with the whole question of what to do with Kang, like the fact that, maybe this season ends with them getting a glimpse of the Kang dynasty, seeing like, oh, there's already like this whole cabal of Kangs out there. Who knows where this is gonna go, but I do enjoy, the fact that we got more answers as to like how ms.minutes works, what she wants, what her deal is, how old is she, and it seems like next episode we're gonna get more Ravonna answers. And so this is exactly what I want out of a Loki episode. I want questions to be answered and give me more mysteries and leave me on, somewhat of a cliffhanger of like asking more questions and theorizing how this all works. This episode just really delivered. There are some things that I'm still kind of wondering about, like, Kang is supposed to be from the 31st century or something like that, so why is he a kid in 18th century Chicago? You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, maybe I need to watch that scene where he explains his origin in the first season. I'll just watch that scene again, I guess, because I'm not sure that this entirely matches up with what we were told then, but hey, maybe it was a lie. maybe this whole idea that Kang was from the future is a lie, and he was actually from the past, and he just learned about time travel stuff. I don't know. Very interesting. Or is that just unique to this version of Kang? Because when he gets the book, it goes from being on a secret timeline to being on a branch timeline. You know, that's what the little anecdote at the bottom says. So I mean, I don't know, that he was a kid there though in the secret timeline, so like that always happens no matter which variant we're talking about. So all variants of Kang come from Chicago at this time, but I don't know if that makes sense. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of questions to be brought up still. But yeah, I was really happy with this one, even though yes, Victor Timely, it's a strange direction to go. I guess it makes sense for what kind of character this is. You know, he's got like that old-timey showmanship inventor thing going on, but it's, you know, it's definitely a choice. You know, like you got to sit here with this character and listen to him, you know, give exposition this entire episode explaining things, but the whole time he's stuttering and you know, doing that. So I don't know, it's gonna take some getting used to, but if it's any indication of where this might be going, the other two Kang variants that we've spent any time with, you know, in Quantumania and in season 1, they don't last that long, you know. Like they're here and they do their thing and then they're gone. So I guess that's the good thing, is that like even if you don't really like this version of Kang, there's infinite amount of Kangs. We saw, you know, the Kang Dynasty. There's so many different versions. You know, the acting could be wildly different on any one of them. And of course, you know, not that this is gonna change this season, but the whole Jonathan Majors situation, who knows? Who knows what's gonna end up happening there? We could have a different actor playing Kang, you know, by the time we get another appearance of this character in a newer movie. It could be a different actor, we don't even know. But in any case, yeah, I really like this episode. I like the way the season's heading and we're getting more answers, and yeah, I'm just having a really great time with this one. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.